Oh yeah! Welcome back to We Love Comics, a comics podcast where I, Miles Morales Vactor, CineSundry's own Markus Seaberry, and podcasting kayfabe Hunter Camp love comics, and you should too. Now, at the start of the show, I want to let everybody know we got a new format, we got new episodes, we got a new co-host, we got all of that for you. So this is an evolving evolution of a podcast. That's why I changed it from Vactor Loves Comics to We Love Comics, because it's going to be multiples on on these podcasts. So just to let everybody know, Hunter Camp, one of my best podcasting friends of all time, and a really nice guy. So Hunter Camp, I want everyone to know that we have come together to form like Voltron, and we bomb atomically Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't define how we drop these mockeries lyrically perform on robbery. Seaberry and Hunter Camp, welcome to the show, boys. Let's start off with Hunter Camp first because he's new to We Love Comics. Hunter Camp, how are you doing today?
I am triumphing.
Ooh wee! And they just added Wu Tang to Fortnite. I know neither of you play Fortnite, but I just purchased the emote where they do the W. I just did it. I had to get it. So that's what's going on in video games, Seabury.
I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. Don't worry. It's not.
Well, I like it. And what I also like is action figures. Hunter Camp and Markus Seaberry, you can see in the background of both of their video feeds, they both love action figures just as much as I do. But apparently, they have some new ones to show off. Ooh. So, look at Hunter Camp go.
Those are just AEW figures.
Oh, you fancy, huh? All right, Seaberry, show them your figures, Seaberry. Show them how it is.
New figure alert. New figure alert.
Ooh. Captain Britain.
Well, I should clarify. New for me, but it's kind of an older Marvel Legends. We had a con at Black Lives Video. Yes, we still have a video store where you can rent DVDs and Blu-rays. Cause we're Memphis and we're quirky. But at that place, they had a con called Mid South Con, and I got this Captain Britain.
Oh.
And then also recently, I got this Falcon. Now this is the older Falcon. There's a new one with the '90s retro packaging. But I saw it at my local comic shop, but I was like, that costs $24.99. Then I went to a game exchange and I was like, oh, this is older, but it's like 20 something. Then I traded in some toys I ain't want and got some store credits. So I was like, let me go peep that. And like, this is now I have the Sam Wilson Captain America from the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. But this is probably the first Sam Wilson Falcon that I've purchased in like 17 years.
Oh, nice.
I used to have the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Falcon, but had some financial issues and had to let them go. Yeah,
it's all good, Seaberry.
And my latest acquisition.
Hey,
because you know a brother love his tokusatsu.
Yeah,
that is a Kamen Rider, and I forgot this one's name, but it's a Kamen Rider. I went to a store in Memphis called Vintage Toys of Memphis. They had that sucker for $7, and I was like, "Ooh, Kamen Rider,
nice!"
Coming to my home.
So I have a question real quick because I live in Jackson, Mississippi, which is about 3 to 4 hours from Memphis. I've been looking for toy stores in the general vicinity. The last time I was up to Memphis, yep. Go ahead.
Let me get it to you. We got Vintage Toys of Memphis in Bartlett. That's like a suburb of Memphis.
That's where I used to live.
They hours a little unique because dude has a day job and kids. You don't be on Facebook.
But like, I mean, Google. I have a Facebook. I just don't use it.
Well, if you're so inclined, you can.
Sure.
You might want to follow them on Facebook. All
okay.
Right. Also, we got Lost Cantina. That only sells Star Wars toys.
Oh.
And they're only open on the weekends.
Right. And that's usually how these type of things go. As somebody who is a frequenter of vegan restaurants, also I kind of know how the random store hours work. So that's totally okay. I think I would only go up there on a weekend anyway, so it would work. But the only thing with Star
And
Wars toys is I only collect like specific Star Wars toys. So I only get I only get like battle droids, Grievuses, and like stormtroopers and Hunter from Bad Batch.
Yeah.
I've been
That's
collecting
it.
black characters. I've been
Nice.
I don't blame
collecting
you.
black
I don't blame
characters
you.
in the black series. But
Yeah.
now I did buy the Yavin ceremony Luke Skywalker because I found this
Nice.
sucker for like $8 at Ollie's.
Okay. Very
And
nice.
I bought some of the 3 3/4 because like they had the Lando in disguise that I always wanted when I was a kid. And okay, that might
It's
need to
just
turn into my Star Wars 3 3/4.
Yeah, because Star Wars is just like, especially with toys or action figures, is such a slippery slope that if you don't rein yourself in, like you're gonna end up like.
Yeah. But let me tell you about another store. There is a store in the Cooper Young area called Wayback Toys.
Oh.
I've heard of this.
Now they got like they pretty much open every day, I believe. So
nice.
What's the type of selection at like Wayback? Where can I buy wrestling figures?
Huh?
Let's rein it back into easy question. Where can I buy wrestling figures in Memphis?
Well, now I've seen some '90s like Chris Jericho figure way back, but like it's gonna set you back a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, whereas in terms of vintage wrestling figures, I didn't really see
not vintage
in
So not vintage. So like if I know that I can buy an AEW figure at one place, like I know that they're going to pretty much have generally the type of stuff I want.
Well, now some of our GameStops here have AEW figures.
Yes, it's just got to be like with specifically toy stores, because I know you can get like some at GameStop or Target or Walmart, but like the actual action figure stores that carry them, those are, because I'm looking for one specifically.
Man, I ain't seen a lot of AEW in the vintage stores, man.
No, so we'll check. Well, I'm going to come up there at some point.
Yeah.
Soon, so.
Well, Hunter Camp, you also got some new figures to show off. Let's see.
Well, so there's plenty on my wall. But I'm not going to take down.
But I did find
Batman
Beyond back there, Hunter.
Yes,
Camp.
It's a good one.
Me too.
I found all of the Dark Order figures from AEW, like that whole line, and it was at Walmart, and they sold them for $5 a piece.
What?
On accident, I guess. So I was able to buy like the whole thing for the whole line for like $25.
Dang.
Those are on my wall, so I won't be getting them down, but they did have 2 Brody Lees. And so I bought the other one, and the other one's in my room next to Darby Allin. So, but I did get some other stuff. So when I went to New Orleans to see AEW at Dynamite, we stopped at Target, and they had this figure, which is the Eartha Kitt Catwoman from the 1960s Batman series.
Nice.
A very, very strong reason for a lot of things that I really like was Eartha Kitt in the 66 series. So I knew that I had to pick her up. But I wasn't entirely sure if like I wanted to keep going. And I still don't know if I want to get the rest, because like they're all over the place. So I don't know if I want to go that far. I also, you guys, if you watch this podcast, would have seen on last week's episode, I guess.
Yes.
That Trent got the Batman of Zernar from Batman RIP. I also was able to get that. So I have that as well. It's behind me. I'm not going to pull it out because you've already seen it. But this other one is another Walmart find, which I don't like Walmart, but I do like the fact that I can find some stuff. And it's the Symbiote Spider-Man.
I used to own that.
And I've looked this up, and it's sold out on the website and all that stuff on Hasbro's website. So I like regular Spider-Man that like in as far as like not a variation. So Miles or Peter in a pretty regular looking costume, like that's I'd like to buy those and open them up. And I've got 2 above me that or then I'm gonna have them like all stare at each other and point at each other because I think that's funny.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, 100%. But I
I
don't.
got the regular Game Reverse Miles Morales they just came out with,
I'm
and
still
I have the
looking.
Chase where
Yeah,
it's in blue.
Nice.
I'm looking. I can't find either of those, so I'm looking for either one of those. But really, any
Found them at
general like.
GameStops.
I know I've been to game. I look at GameStop, but they don't like the ones here don't ever have them. I'll double check to see, but like the last time I went in, they didn't have any. But I like to collect the Spider-Man figures. But I don't know if I'm going to open that one or not because I'm not like really a big collector for the sake of collecting. But there is a part of me that is like, if I can obtain all of the AEW figures 10 years down the road, like this is all first run stuff. So like, and I've got a whole lot of them. So if I did want to sell it all, then that's why I haven't opened them unless they're duplicates. But like the Spider-Man ones, I just want to open. But this one specifically, since I know that I can't find it anywhere, like I know that it might increase in value and I might sell it, but I don't know. And I'm also buying like several Assassin's Creed figures. So like if I move, there's like a whole Assassin's Creed thing right here. With a Final Fantasy, the Ketchi from Final Fantasy 7. So I'm doing that mainly just because I stream a lot of Assassin's Creed video games. So that's my little Assassin's Creed, what's it called? Altar.
Yeah. Very nice, Hunter Camp. Well, I am very pleased that both of you got these new figures, and this should be a recurring segment. And I forgot to also mention at the top of the show, so we already did our pull list. That was basically whatever new comics are coming out for the week. Now we're going to do a giant sized episode where we just kind of talk about whatever topics or whatever rants we have to let loose. And that's why I wanted Hunter Camp to be on this one too, because Hunter Camp is very good at letting loose. But
And I'm very opinionated.
that is true. Let's go straight to another opinionated man, Mr. Markus Seaberry, who had a few things he want to get off his chest.
Listen to me, people of YouTube and people out there in podcast land. There is a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. You need to see it. It is life changing. It is life affirming. Okay? Michelle Yeoh, you know her from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and several kung fu type films over the years. She's amazing in this. She's like a small business owner, a business in danger. She's in danger of losing it. Her marriage is in trouble. Also, her husband's played by the same guy that plays Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yes.
So it's great to see him back. She's amazing in it. He's amazing in it. I forgot his first name, but his last name is Hung. He's like the old Asian guy that's in everything.
Right.
He was in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
I think it might be James Hung. If not,
he was
please forgive me.
The dad in Kung Fu Panda, the goose. You hear his voice all the time. You know his voice.
Oh yes. Yeah. He's amazing. It's amazing.
Jamie
It's
Lee
weird,
Curtis.
but like, yes, thank you. Jamie Lee Curtis is also amazing. And like I said, it's a weird movie, but it works. And I feel like it's teaching lessons. I really, really enjoyed it. Like, highest possible recommendations from me. And it's going to be reviewed on CineSundry at some point.
Nice. And this is from the directors that did Swiss Army Man with Daniel.
The other thing that's getting me hype right now.
Daniel Radcliffe and what's his name? The Riddler, Paul Dano. Did you ever see that movie, Seaberry, Swiss Army Man?
No, is that the same director?
Yeah, the same.
Or directors?
Yeah, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, the Daniels as they're called, directed Swiss Army Man was their directorial debut, and then they did Everything Everywhere All at Once. They were also popular for doing DJ Snake's "Turned Down for What" music video.
Oh, okay. I have seen that.
Yeah,
Was Swiss Army
That
Man
video was actually
distributed
really
by
cool.
A24 as well?
I believe so. And that was in 2016. That was the
Man, yo,
Farting Corpse movie.
if I can get my film snob on for a minute, A24 is putting out some top tier stuff, man.
Yeah. I love
Salute
The
to them.
Last Black Man in San Francisco. That was a great movie. And it looks great on A24's
Yes, I
4K
need to buy
Blu-ray.
that.
Great movie.
Yeah, because that's where I first saw the dude that's gonna play Kane.
Yes. Right.
Uh, yeah.
Oh, Kang. I thought you said Kane, and I was like, legit confused.
No, Kane. I'm sorry.
Right, right. No, you said it right. I just misheard.
Yo, but one more thing I gotta talk about that I loved. Also, full disclosure, I'm a hip hop head. I'm an old hip hop head. Now I'm 45, and I've hit a point of zen where I don't hate on the young folks no more because I be like, I'm 45. I'm not supposed to understand it. And sometimes I won't turn up music too. But the music I grew up with was a more fun hip hop. And one of the main guys in that passed away recently, Phife Dawg, he was a part of a Tribe Called Quest, a very seminal, influential hip hop band in the 90s. And they put out what they call a posthumous album of his. Uh man, it's amazing. The standout song to me is Nutshell Part 2 with Busta Rhymes and Redman.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of just great songs on there. Songs like tributes to Jay Dilla and all kind of stuff. Some people I feel kind of played Fife, because it's like, oh well, he's the sidekick. It's like, nah, man. I'll admit that Q-Tip may have been a little more charismatic, but Fife had lyrics too, man. Fife had memorable bars and quotables too.
Yes. Yeah, and I think that like just because the like with Q-Tip was more hype, so like he was more energetic and entertaining from like a performance aspect. And that's the same thing with like Wu-Tang. Like I love Wu-Tang. And there's so many things that are said about them. But a lot of times like, Method Man was the biggest one out of them, but then he wasn't like the best lyricist by any means. But that's the same thing.
Man,
And
Method
not
Man
to take
solo
away,
projects have been so
yeah,
disappointing.
I know everything after the first one, but like that's not. Um, but yeah, it's just that's the way like it goes sometimes. But like that does not take away from Fife at all. And I don't want to take away from Q-Tip either, but like that whole group was on par with each other. Like they were one of the most important groups of all time, and each one of the people that are involved with it were absolutely as important as each other. So
Did you guys ever see that documentary they did in 2011, Beats, Rhymes, and Life?
I saw it theatrically and I bought it.
Nice. Yeah, that is a very good documentary. I was very entertained by that.
I'm really bad at watching movies.
Oh man, it's a great,
Yeah.
just kind of their whole. It's a chronicle, of their whole career, and then them breaking up, and um, wasn't it? Yeah, Michael Rappaport directed it for some reason, but I thought it was a
Yes.
very
He
good,
loves hip hop.
yeah, very good
Michael Rappaport
documentary.
is very.
So yeah, Five Dog Forever is the album, Seaberry. So you're going to give it a buy if we're doing it on the buy, burn,
Yes,
borrow
yes.
scale. Nice.
Well, I feel weird because like I don't buy music. I listen to it on YouTube or
Okay, you're gonna give
Spotify.
it
But okay,
give it a stream. How about that?
if I
By,
was in a
by,
world
by
where
the
I still bought CDs, I'd give it a buy.
by vinyl. Then you
One day, Hunter Camp, show us
Gotta
all
give
of
me
your
a
vinyl
gotta give me a
collection.
vinyl player.
well, I mean, we could arrange something.
Yeah. All right, cool. So those were the things Seabury wanted to get off his chest. And now let's get into our main topic and the one that Seabury actually brought to my attention. He said he wanted to talk about this. And I said, Hunter Camp, you need to jump on this episode because we're going to
Yep.
be talking about race swapping and gender swapping of heroic identities. So, Seabury, what made you want to talk about this? What made it come to your mind?
Because they just keep doing it. Like now Constantine's gonna be black. And I'm like, Whoa, cowboy. I mean, thank you, but like, let's slow down. And like, I just keep seeing it, man. And now, on one end, a lot of white male fanboys overreact. Like they have fits.
So
Like they
excited about the way
have
this is going to
fits.
turn out.
Yeah, but like they have fits about like Miles Morales and this and that, and like, oh, I remember when Donald Glover as Spider-Man was said jokingly, and people lost their crap and was like, "Okay, I guess then Michael Cera can be Chef." And even Donald Glover was like, "Michael Cera as Chef would probably be kind of awesome." And I was like, but like, I mean, on one hand, it made me sad because as a African American comic book collector since the '80s, of course I read white characters. Most of the characters was white. I just read what I had. I read what was in front of me, and I didn't get mad about it. I just when a black character would show up, like a Luke Cage or a Black Panther, I'd cling to that book. Um, now, but it seemed like just all this backlash and just overreacting from some of the white male fanboys, and I'm like, y'all guys, like, okay, I don't love it, but are y'all that mad? Like, why are you that mad? Cause this character is black, or like, or the lazy thing they do in a lot of movies, like, well, let's make Perry White black now, and you know,
Right.
and let's make. And I know Jimmy Olsen's black on the he was black on
Supergirl.
the Supergirl
Right.
series, and I was just like, yeah,
Yeah,
it
Hunter, what
feels
well I
I
want
want
to
him to
get
finish. I
it
want him to
feels a
finish. I
little
want him to finish.
lazy.
yeah, you said it feels lazy?
Yeah, it feels a lot of times like lazy writing and also like a cheap way to shoehorn diversity into things. And I would rather the diversity be organic and also the reactions of a lot of butthurt fanboys make me not want them to do it. And I get it because comics aren't selling, so they like we don't want to throw a minority character out there just brand new, like let's make him a legacy character and then throw him out there. And I mean I feel like it works for a minute, but like it just the diminishing returns are high, I think.
Hmm.
And like sometimes I hate it. Like, okay, I love Sam Wilson, but I love Sam Wilson as the Falcon. Like the first time they made him Captain America for like a long time, it was cool. I read it, but it came off a little corny. And then when they first did it, Captain America had lost his super soldier serum, so he was old, so he was inactive. But then in the middle of his run, he gets his youth and vitality back. I'm like, well, the instant you put Steve Rogers back in the game, to me, Falcon became Captain America Jr. He instantly
Hmm.
became less than.
Right.
And it's like, I know it's for a quick fix and, hype and publicity, but I feel like long term, I don't really know if it's a good thing. And, you know, now having said that, I'm also gonna put the new book with Falcon as Captain America on my pull list because I love Sam Wilson. And the biggest exception to all of this for me personally is Miles Morales. Like I love Miles Morales. Like Into the Spider Verse, I got the Into the Spider Verse Miles Morales right there. Don't play with it. I you know I you, I read the comic every month because I can't really stomach Peter Parker no more because they won't let him grow up. That's just my personal preference. But so there are exceptions that I love, but like it just keeps going, and then it's even gender swapping. Like Electra's been Daredevil, and I'm just like, I mean, I don't know. And granted, I haven't read everything. Some of this stuff might be amazing, but like I said, to me, it feels a little lazy. And two, man, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant fanboys that lose their crap and just, go thermonuclear on the internet, that makes me not want it. I'm like, like
Yeah.
they can't deal with it. So maybe we shouldn't do it. I don't know. But
Well,
you guys, please
as
feel free to jump in.
as a not traditionally or historically, but coming from a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant background as myself, Hunter Camp, I love it. Like I love that there is like why not? As long so there's two things. As long as the writing ends up being good, as long as the story ends up being good, change everything. Who cares, right? I'm not a traditionalist. I don't think that you have to stick to one thing. um Trent, my favorite character, who's my favorite character in comics?
Batman.
What is my favorite run in comics?
Grant Morrison. Batman.
On Batman.
Yes.
What happens in that story?
So Bruce Wayne goes back in time and gives up the mantle of the Bat to Dick Grayson.
Yes. So there's that, right? Yeah, change everything. Let it be exciting. Do something different. Because how many times can we read Daredevil over and over and over and over and over and over and over? How many times can we read Batman over and over and over?
And that's what Seaberry's talking about with letting Peter Parker change.
Yeah, 100%. And what would happen if Peter Parker grew up? You would really kind of need a new Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is that a younger character that is like exuberant and hopeful and all those things. Like that's what Miles Morales has to offer. As long as the story there, like Sam Wilson when he became Cap for longer, like that's good, because that's a sensible evolution of that character.
I'm telling you, it just felt, and like I said, I am overly sensitive.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, soon as Steve Rogers was back on the board,
I know. I think that's the cheap part. Like when you say things like when it's lazy, I think it's lazy when they pull them back in, because that's where the challenge is. The challenge is doing something different. It's not just making somebody diverse or not whatever they were. Because the only times that like race or gender matter to me is if it's a critical part of the character. And I think that all three of us can agree with each other on this. I can't think of a single comic book character that it matters that they're white. Like there's literally not one character where it's important that they are white. The only times that you could argue that sort of is with the gods from Thor, like all the characters from that, because they're based off Norse gods, and Norse gods were depicted as white. But even then, this is made up aliens. They're not it's saying basically the Norse gods were aliens. So that doesn't matter. Like there's not one scenario, unless it's some sort of like super underground, very racist like comic, that it matters that it's a white person, because it doesn't.
I would say that original Captain America adventures pretty much can't work.
I think it could.
Like we saw that, we saw truth. Like
sure. What I'm saying is like, but if you were to tell the stories now, right? Yeah. Like if you were to take what happened then and tell it now, why would it have to be a white person? It doesn't. The only times that it matters is if it's like Miles Morales, because his last name is Morales. Like that's the only time, like it's important with that. And it's also, I mean, like I think that we can also agree that diversity is important, because not just because like it's important to be diverse. I mean, it is, but to have a very reflective representation of the people that are reading it. So like that's just should happen. You know what I mean? There should be Black Panthers. There should be Miles Moraleses. There should be like Luke Cages. There should be Jaime Reyes's. You know, like all those characters should exist. And it doesn't hurt if like if Batman were Latino. You know, Like that, there's no reason why he couldn't be. Like the only things that matter that for Batman is that he's rich and has a moral code, and that's it. And you can have that no matter what. Like there's not like an uphill battle that Batman had to fight other than his parents were dead and people's parents die.
Yeah.
Like that happens.
It's a problem.
And the same thing for women too.
Right.
Like I don't think that that's a problem. Like there's the Aaron run with Thor. Like it made sense that she became Thor. So why wouldn't she? You know, all of those things make sense. And it's like if you're worthy to hold Mjolnir, there you go. And she was. And that's so like the times where they've really changed, it hasn't made a difference. Miss Marvel, Kamala is one of my favorite characters of all time, and it's a perfect, great like reason for that because you know she left Miss Marvel, opened up the position, and then there you go. You know, and it's like her hero. So and I think a lot of the times with mainstream comics,
that one doesn't bother me because it seems more permanent. Like
and it is, but that's my point. If it's permanent, that's good, and if you do something with the character, that's good. I don't think ultimately it's the problem as long as the story is good and that character sticks. But that can be said for Grant Morrison's Batman too, because even though like you and I wanted Dick Grayson to stay Batman, and then Batman could just go do something else and be another character or whatever, and that would be great. That wasn't going to happen. But in Morrison's run, he treated it that way. And even in Batman Incorporated, it's like Dick was still Batman. There was a bunch of Batmans, and so that worked. But DC was always going to come around. They were always going to hire Zack Snyder to come back and take all of that away. That's just how that is. But as long as the story's good, it can stick. They just have to hold to their guns. And I think the corporate comic structure is honestly way too weak to let writers write and continue to be creative.
I think that's the biggest problem overall is they can't let people grow up. They can't let people change. Dick Grayson was like the only character that they let actually become a man, grow up, have some type of change in his life. Everything else is all this, that illusion of change of, oh yeah, we'll change him. And then a year or two later, all right, we change him right back. And I think what Seaberry's talking about, the same thing with Sam Wilson being Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to stay. Like that doesn't seem like Kamala where it's going to be, she's Miss Marvel. I agree with you. I think the other thing that I like about her being Miss Marvel is she's not a carbon copy. She doesn't have the same powers as Carol Danvers or as even, Carol Danvers was a Captain Marvel gender swap and then turned into Miss Marvel. But I think I can see both sides of the issue where you want to see, like Hunter said, the representation change and things like that. But like Seaberry's saying, it feels cheap if the same guy comes back specifically in the Captain America case.
Yeah, I completely agree, right? Like I'm not disagreeing with that it feels cheap, right? But it's cheap not because of the diversity. It's cheap because the corporate structure, the editors always want it to come back to what the status quo was. That's why it's cheap. It's not the gender swapping or the race swapping.
Right.
And as far as like just back to Constantine, I'm a huge Constantine fan or Constantine fan. This also brings up the Sandman show. A lot of stuff has changed as far as like gender identities, race and everything that's in Sandman, and it's great because it doesn't matter. Like death is portrayed like that was one of the things, like people complain that death is going to be like a black woman in Sandman. That's so very stupid because the concept is that it's just it's the endless. It's a character that represents an idea. There's no reason why that person should have to be portrayed as white. Same thing with Lucifer. I think that like from a religious standpoint, like Lucifer is almost genderless. So the fact that if it's Gwendolyn Christie or not, like that does not matter at all. So I think that like a lot, and it really just what it boils down to is when there is a huge complaint about diversity and it's being diversity, it's because like people are afraid of either change, which I can kind of be okay with people being afraid of change just because it's different to them and it's a foreign concept, or it's rooted in just some really, really terrible stuff. But again, I don't disagree that with Sam Wilson as Captain America, like, will that stick? Probably not, but that's not the fact that it's diversity's fault. That's the structure's fault.
And
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. But like I said, I guess
that's the
we
main
just got
one.
to keep other angry fanboys.
Right. Well, also going back to what you
Yeah,
guys were saying
yeah.
about,
Can I talk about the fanboys
yeah,
just for a second? They're really annoying, but like that's the extent of it. It's just dealing with people that are horrible, and it's like, wow, you've shown me that you're horrible. It's not, that's a side effect of seeing somebody's true colors when something that probably should happen and wouldn't make a difference at all happens, and they get mad about it. So
Yeah, cause
that's
like
just
it
the curtain being
hurts.
dropped.
Yeah, cause as an African American friend who is sensitive, it kind of hurts because it's like, dude, you know how many years it was like two black characters?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Exactly.
because I love comics, I dealt with it.
yeah. Well, I was,
Now it's like, oh no, black characters, and they just lose their
Exactly.
crap, and I'd be like, wow.
right.
So
Well,
that's how you feel. Yeah,
another
I mean,
thing that I wanted to spotlight is that a lot of it also is the people who are buying the comics, not coming out and supporting like Static Shock or somebody like that. You create the milestone line, or you create
And
this specific thing, it's
Mhm.
new, and people are like, wait a minute, that's not X-Men, that's not Spider-Man, that's not the same thing I'm used to. I don't like that. I need a black Spider-Man because I know
Right.
Spider-Man. I need
Yeah.
so that it's like that's what I'm saying. I can see both sides because I want new characters to be diverse, and it's all about the time that they're created in. And I want them to have Muslims. I want them to have all type of religions, race, genders, sexualities. Like I want all of those things, but then I don't want them to just be. It all comes also down to, are they good characters or not? Because like we said,
Yeah, that's a big part.
all three of us can agree Miles Morales is fantastic, and that is the exact thing that people are complaining about. Oh, you're just doing it just to be, diverse. You're just making him black just because you can, not because he's a good character. But that's Miles breaks all of that because we love him as a character. And Into the Spider-Verse, I think, is a big deal about, or a big reason why more of the mainstream society likes Miles Morales
Mhm.
and with the video game.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, I can see both sides, but we even go back to the 70s Seaberry with the female versions of She-Hulk, Spider-Woman. They had to, all right, I think they faced the same thing back then where we need a character that's for the girls, but we also want to attract the Hulk fans. So let's call her
Yeah.
She-Hulk.
And Batgirl and
Yeah.
and Batwoman
Right.
and everything too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I want new
also,
characters, but I like the legacy characters too.
also, I have a confession to make.
Yeah.
You talk about not wanting new characters or ignore new characters for
Oh
old.
no, Seaberry.
I
No.
kind of did that. I kind of did it with the original Milestone incarnation. Hear me out. The the church boy and me couldn't rock with Blood Syndicate because they were a gang. I was like, no, that's wrong. They're a gang. And Icon was just a little too. Icon was a little too Republican for my taste. So like Static was like my little sweet spot. But remember now, I'm buying these with high school allowance, and I'm an X-Men fan. And X-Men just had so many crossovers. I was like, I gotta drop Static. I was like, ah. And that's been one of my regrets. So like now, all three of this new crop of Milestone on my pull list: the Static, Icon, and Rocket, and Hardware. And I got Blood Syndicate. So I guess like I'm trying to make up for the transgressions of 17-year-old
So,
Marcus.
so what you're saying is that you're okay with gangs now.
I'm saying I'm not as sheltered and such a stick in the mud that I cannot read a book about a point of view that is completely different from mine.
Dwayne McDuffie is rolling over in his grave, Seaberry.
RP.
Yeah. Well, I think
I miss that dude.
Yeah,
yes.
I do as well, especially on all the DC animated stuff that he had his fingers on. I think this is a very good topic. I'm very happy that we had this discussion. Hunter Camp, did you have any other final
I'm just
thoughts?
glad that I'm super glad that I was able to come on and break the mold, and like what were people going to think? And then it's like, oh no, I completely agree. I'm really excited about Sandman and the casting for Sandman.
Yeah.
I will say
well, also, here's an ending thought. So, like with Sandman, like with Miles Morales, I think things that are created now are different than things that were created in the 70s. It's much, there's, I think there's much, the doors are more open, the gates are more open for diversity, and the things that are coming out now make sense that there's a Muslim character, there's a black character, and also real quick, Hunter, you said there's no character that you could think of that they had to be that. I think
where it's like important.
T'Challa's the only one. I think Black Panther has to be black.
No, what I said is that like there's not a single character that it's important that they be white.
Oh, okay.
Because like when you have people like Luke Cage, or or several different characters, like it is important because their background partly tells the story of what they've had to deal with. Whereas like with a white person, that's not really like, oh no, you got to be like decently taken care of as a kid. Wow, that's amazing. How hard it must have been. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, oh, look at all the trials and tribulations that I went through because for no reason whatsoever.
Right. Well, I am very happy with our discussion today. And one more thing. These are thoughts that are coming off the top of my head. The movies and video games, like the other things in pop culture today, those are the things that I think help the characters break through and be popular to the point where, like Seaberry, you don't need necessarily just the comics fans to support Milestone. If we could get a static movie, a TV show, those are the things that make the general population grasp onto these characters rather than just us, the comic book fans. So I think those are important.
Well, the static movie is in development.
So many movies are in development.
Yeah, right. Hunter,
but
did you
with
have
what you were yeah so like when you were talking about Sandman, like Sandman came out in the 80s, right? So like when Gaiman's or Gaiman, I've always called them Gaiman, so I don't know.
I say Gaiman.
His version of Sandman's like started coming out in the 80s and early 90s, and that was lots of years ago, as sad as it's to admit that. The reaction for the casting of the show is getting this type, not our type of reaction, but like the type that Marcus so eloquently put earlier, or so succinctly put, that reaction. It's getting that a lot, and the casting of Death is getting that a lot. Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer is getting that type of reaction a lot, and so that's why I think it's like it's a good point of reference right now, because it's so incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Because that like race and gender have literally nothing to do with those characters. Right. So it's very stupid to get upset about it.
Thoughts and prayers for the black woman playing Death, because
I know,
based on how they tore apart that black woman playing Starfire.
Yes, but she's lovely.
Her the N-words and C-words.
Oh, I know.
Huh?
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to happen, but she's lovely. And she's going to do an amazing job, and I'm very excited about what she's going to do with that role.
Oh, Seaberry, we didn't even talk about the Black Batwoman on CW. I know you probably don't watch that show, but what do you think about?
I do not.
What do you think?
I didn't care about it either.
As a Batwoman fan,
me as a Batwoman fan, or him as the Batwoman? Oh
no,
for him.
Well, for Ruby Rose leaving, and then they bring in a black Batwoman.
Yeah. I was well, I'm gonna base this on actress and not necessarily think race. I was, because I think that's more important. Dude, I didn't like Ruby Rose anyway, so I think they went the right direction with this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. Because I mean, like, think
I
about
only saw the Batwoman character in the big CW verse
Same.
crossover.
That's the
So
only. I don't
I
watch
can't
any of
really
those.
speak on them.
Yeah, I'm the same
But
way. I tuned in for the crossover. That was it.
But if you think about Kate Kane, like, what was important about her? She
Well,
was inspired by Batman, and she was a lesbian, or is,
right.
and that she was in the military. Those are the important things about Kate Kane. That's it.
Right. And we didn't even get into issues of trans, lesbian, gay, bisexual, which we've seen with Superman's son, things like that. Where I have a coworker and he's like, when he found that out, I'm not letting my son read that Superman. But I was like, why?
So stupid.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a whole nother topic.
Well, I'm the guy who had to be in the barbershop like, hey guys, Superman's son is bisexual.
Yeah.
This is not the Superman you grew up reading.
Right. And that's
also,
yeah. And then
okay. I'll jump in then.
And then somebody thought, because Jason Todd's bisexual, Batman bisexual too. I'm like, well, Jason Todd, one of his Robins is bisexual.
Well,
I was just trying to let them know exactly who they were angry about, because they didn't even know that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I mean,
why do you care who, like, a superhero has sex with?
Right.
Like, why would you care about that?
Well, it's all about they're pushing that on my kids. I don't want them pushing the gays on my kids. Because I have another friend who he's
it's
like,
so stupid.
Anything Disney, like, I'm canceling Disney Plus because they're gonna start pushing gay stuff down my son's throat and he has to watch it.
They're literally not.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
The only gay agenda I see is being fabulous and glitter, which hey.
The only gay agenda I see is to have just rights to be normal.
Yeah. Really, I mean,
yeah, I know.
Like I'm joking, but seriously,
right.
People just
want
to belong and people want to be represented. Because, like, dude,
and why do people have a problem with that?
I don't know, dude. You do not know how many arguments I've had with my Black Gen X friends about Zaya Wade, and I'm like, how is that child hurting you?
Right.
And then I had to have arguments about Lil Nas X, where I was like, hey, I don't really want to watch a video where he gives Satan a lap dance. That ain't my jam. But guess what? His right.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, like,
his right as an American citizen is to do that.
Yeah. And like, who's making you watch the video?
Right.
Like, if you don't want to watch it,
exactly.
Guess what? You don't have to.
Right.
Like, that doesn't happen.
Vote with your wallet.
Everybody be losing their crap.
Right. But I think we might want to have Hunter Camp back on for another topic of sexuality on another episode of We Love Comics. But I want to thank Hunter Camp for joining us, and hopefully he'll be back on the next giant size episode of
I'm here to be a giant.
We Love Comics. Just to let you guys know, We Love Comics is part of the Geek So to Speak network. We've got a video game podcast called the Sandbox Gamers, which I'm a part of, a Star Wars podcast called the Holdo Maneuver, which I'm a part of, a Star Trek podcast called TREKnological, which I'm a part of, and Geek So to Speak, which is our geek news podcast, which I'm also a part of. So just to let you know, if you want your Vactor fix, head over to geeksotospeak.com/network. If you want your Seaberry fix, not only do you need to just stay here on We Love Comics, but also you can check out CineSundry on YouTube and Black Nerd Power, wherever you get your podcasts. And Hunter Camp is streaming. How many days a week are you streaming?
Like 4 or 5.
Okay, Hunter Camp
Try to go with that.
Streaming 5 days a week on Twitch. I'll leave it in our description, our show notes. I am Hunter Camp is his Twitch name.
Twitch.tv/I am Hunter Camp. I play wrestling games on Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. I tried to do a JRPG on Fridays as like a freestyle Friday thing. Assassin's Creed on Sunday and Monday probably, and then trying to figure out a hold for Tuesday. But I also have to give myself time to play Elden Ring because I work. But I am if I can get 3 regular viewers on each stream, guess what? I can be monetized.
Oh, dang. dang. Well, I'm already one of them,
That's
so
the only piece
we
that's
just
missing.
need 2 more regulars. So come on
Markus
over.
Seaberry, that's him.
Seaberry, just press play on the stream, and then you can go read comments. You can do whatever you want.
That's
But
fine.
like you said, twitch.tv/IamHunterCamp. You can check that out. And we'd like to thank you. You know what? If you have some thoughts on this topic, you can leave them down below if you're watching on YouTube. Or if you're on the audio format of this show, you can leave us a comment or review over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Or if you're on Anchor, you can actually leave us a voicemail and let us know your thoughts. And we'll play it on the next show. So thank you very much for joining us. And are we doing it together, Hunter Cam? Are you going to join us?
No.
Okay. Well, Seaberry and I want everybody to know that we love comics, and you should too.